The sun of the distant planet Virelia hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the floating city. Towers of glass and steel reached into the clouds, and the streets below were alive with creatures from dozens of different worlds. Some had 4 arms, some glowed with strange light, and some moved in ways that made humans dizzy. Among them all, one figure moved with cautious determination. Captain Ethan Drake had never imagined he would be here. A human from a remote colony on the edge of known space, he had trained his whole life to survive difficult situations, but nothing had prepared him for this. A team of alien officials had found him after a minor skirmish in space. They claimed it was fate that he be brought to Virelia, but Ethan knew better. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. They were curious, unpredictable, dangerous too if underestimated, and it seemed that the aliens here wanted to test him. The arena loomed above the city like a silver crown. Suspended on invisible forces, it shimmered in the sunlight, huge enough to contain thousands of spectators. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had fought in dangerous situations before, but this was something else. This was not a battlefield. This was a stage, a place where every movement was watched and every mistake could be deadly. A soft vibration under his feet announced the arrival of his escort. He looked up to see 2 armored guards approaching, each taller than any human he had ever seen. Their skin was smooth and iridescent like the scales of a fish, and their eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. One of them spoke, the voice deep and melodic yet unintelligible at first. Then a translator device on Ethan's wrist hummed, converting the words into English. "You will face challenges beyond your imagination," the guard said. "The arena does not forgive hesitation. Your life and your honor are on the line. The princess herself has taken interest in you." Ethan swallowed hard. Princess interest? He had read stories of alien monarchs, of rulers who treated combat as sport and love as a prize, but he had never thought one would single him out. As he was led up the winding ramps that spiraled into the arena, Ethan's eyes took in the crowd. Thousands upon thousands of beings were packed into the stands. Some waved banners, others held strange devices that made the air shimmer with images. He could feel their excitement, their hunger for spectacle. And somewhere above it all, on a grand platform at the center of the arena, stood her, Princess Layara. She was more striking than he had imagined. Standing tall with an elegant posture, her eyes were a deep violet, glowing faintly in the light. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her armor shone like polished metal, adorned with delicate patterns that told stories of her people's history. She smiled, and the smile was both warm and dangerous, as if she knew every secret in the universe and could destroy you with a thought. "And so," she said, her voice carrying across the arena like a song and a warning at the same time, "the human has arrived." The audience erupted in cheers, whistles, and calls of excitement. Ethan felt all eyes on him, human and alien alike, but her words made the arena fall into silence. She raised her hand slightly, and the words came again, slower this time, deliberate. "Human, if you win this battle, you win me." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Even some of the aliens who had seen hundreds of warriors enter this arena seemed shocked. The challenge was clear. This was not just a fight. It was a test of worthiness. And Ethan, a human alone in a sea of alien champions, was at its center. Ethan felt a surge of adrenaline. His instincts, honed through years of survival and combat, kicked in. He could not afford to panic. He had to observe, to think, to adapt. 1,000 questions raced through his mind. What were the rules? Who would he face first? Were there traps? But one thought rose above all others: I can do this. I have to do this. The arena itself seemed to shift around him as he stepped forward. Platforms rose and fell. Walls shimmered with energy barriers, and strange plants that moved as if alive swayed in patterns he couldn't yet understand. Ethan quickly realized that this arena was not static. It was alive in its own way, a place designed to test more than strength. It tested intelligence, reflexes, and courage. A voice crackled through a small device given to him by his alien escorts. "First challenge begins soon. Observe the patterns. Use your mind as well as your body. Victory favors the clever." Ethan nodded silently. He had always relied on strategy over brute force. Here it might be his only advantage. He ran through possibilities in his mind. The environment could be used to trap opponents. The energy barriers might be manipulated, and the platforms could be leveraged for tactical advantage. Every detail mattered. Every second counted. Then the gates opened and the first challenger appeared. It was a massive alien brute, at least 3 times Ethan's height, with 6 thick arms ending in clawed hands. Its skin was dark and ridged, and its eyes glowed with an eerie orange light. A low growl escaped its throat, vibrating through the arena. The crowd cheered wildly, some throwing strange objects into the arena to support their favorite fighter. Ethan took a step back, noting the brute's size and speed, but he didn't flinch. The alien brute charged. Ethan rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the first swipe of the creature's massive claws. Sparks flew as metal clanged against the ground where he had landed. He could hear the princess's voice in his mind, though she did not speak aloud. "Show me what humans can do." Thinking quickly, Ethan ran toward one of the floating platforms. He noticed that the floor beneath the brute's feet was slightly unstable. With a small push, he lured the brute forward. The ground trembled and the creature stumbled slightly, enough for Ethan to leap onto its back, using the momentum to slide down its shoulder and trip it. The crowd gasped. No human had ever bested this champion in such a manner. Some spectators yelled in excitement, others in disbelief. Ethan didn't have time to celebrate. The brute was recovering and its 6 arms moved in a coordinated attack. He noticed a nearby energy barrier flickering. An idea struck him. Using the brute's momentum, he dodged through the barrier. Sparks flew as it overloaded, temporarily stunning the alien. Ethan seized the moment, landing a precise strike to a sensitive joint, and the brute collapsed with a loud thud. Silence fell over the arena for a heartbeat. Then Princess Liara clapped, her smile widening. The human had survived, had adapted, and had won. "You are clever," she said, her voice carrying both approval and challenge. "But the battles ahead will be harder. Remember, human, this arena does not forgive mistakes." Ethan, breathing heavily, nodded. He looked around at the vast arena and the endless rows of spectators. He could feel the weight of their expectations, the pressure of the princess's challenge, and the dangerous beauty of the world he had entered. He also felt something else, a spark of excitement. For the first time, he understood that humans could not just survive here. They could impress, they could adapt, and they could win. As the crowd's cheers faded into anticipation for the next round, Ethan allowed himself a small, confident smile. He would need every ounce of courage, every bit of strategy, and all his human ingenuity to survive the challenges ahead. But for the first time since he had arrived, he felt ready. Above it all, Princess Liara watched him closely, her violet eyes glowing in quiet admiration. The arena had never seen a human fight like this before, and as the gates closed behind the fallen brute, Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The battle for the princess's respect, and perhaps her heart, had begun. The arena had changed. Where once it had seemed open and simple, now it transformed into a shifting battlefield. Giant platforms floated above a deep chasm, and strange alien plants swayed unnaturally as if alive. Glowing energy barriers crisscrossed the field, pulsing in colors Ethan had never seen before. Each step he took sent a shiver through the air, as if the arena itself was watching him. He took a deep breath. The first challenge had taught him one thing. Brute strength alone would not be enough. Humans had to rely on brains as well as brawn, and he had plenty of both. He scanned the battlefield, noting every platform, every barrier, and every potential hiding spot. The crowd's roar was deafening as the second challenger appeared. It was a creature unlike any Ethan had seen before. Its skin was translucent, showing glowing veins of light underneath, and it moved with incredible speed, darting between platforms like a shadow. Its eyes were large, black, and unblinking, scanning Ethan with an intelligence that sent a chill down his spine. The creature hissed, and energy crackled around its claws. It was fast, clever, and dangerous, everything a champion should be. Ethan clenched his fists and focused. He knew he could not fight it head-on. Instead, he studied its movements, noting patterns. Each time it leapt from one platform to another, it left a faint trail of energy behind. Those trails seemed to weaken the platform slightly. A plan formed in his mind. The creature attacked first, springing from a floating platform toward him with blinding speed. Ethan rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the swipe of its glowing claws. Sparks flew where its energy met the platform's metal edge. He darted behind a small rock formation, hiding for a heartbeat. The creature paused, tilting its head as if curious about Ethan's movements. That pause was enough. Ethan sprinted across the nearest platform, avoiding the glowing trails, and jumped onto another floating platform. He felt the platform tremble under the creature's next leap. Perfect. Ethan used his surroundings, baiting the creature into striking unstable platforms. Each misstep it took caused it to stumble, and each stumble gave Ethan a small advantage. The crowd gasped repeatedly, whispering in shock and amazement. Humans were clever, yes, but none had used the arena itself as a weapon like this before. Princess Liara watched closely, her violet eyes narrowing in interest. There was a spark of admiration in her gaze. This human was not just surviving, he was adapting. He was thinking, planning, and executing moves that even experienced alien champions might not anticipate. The creature realized it had been tricked and changed its strategy. It moved faster, leaping unpredictably between platforms, swinging its claws with more power. Ethan's heart raced. He had only one chance to end this battle without being struck. He noticed a set of energy barriers glowing brighter than the rest. If he could lead the creature through them, the barriers might overload and stun it, giving him the opportunity to strike. He ran toward the nearest barrier, carefully watching the creature's movements. It followed faster than he expected. Just as he had predicted, the creature's energy hit the barrier, sending a shockwave through the air. The barrier overloaded, crackling and flaring before collapsing in a controlled explosion that sent the creature stumbling backward. Ethan didn't waste a second. He leapt onto the creature's back, finding a small weak spot beneath its glowing veins. With a precise strike, he disabled its energy source. The creature collapsed onto a platform, stunned but unharmed. The crowd erupted into cheers. Humans had never been so clever, so daring. They had survived, adapted, and outsmarted a champion of the arena. Ethan felt a rush of relief and satisfaction, but he knew the challenges were only going to get harder. Princess Liara rose slightly from her platform, clapping her hands. Her smile was small but genuine. "Impressive," she said, her voice carrying over the crowd. "The human is clever. I see potential. But cleverness alone will not be enough. Adaptability, courage, and strategy must guide every move." Ethan nodded silently. He didn't need her praise to know he had succeeded. But it was encouraging, and for the first time he allowed himself a small, confident smile. As he caught his breath, the arena changed again. The floating platforms shifted, forming a maze-like pattern. Towers of crystal rose from the floor, refracting the light in blinding patterns. The next challenger appeared, a creature with multiple limbs and eyes that seemed to track every movement before they happened. Its movements were fluid, almost hypnotic, and it advanced toward him with frightening precision. Ethan's mind raced. He realized that each battle was designed not just to test strength, but to test observation, creativity, and speed. He had to use every skill he possessed. He glanced at the platform edges and the patterns of the energy barriers. He noticed subtle hints in the arena's design, small markings that indicated pressure points, weak spots, or hidden mechanisms. The creature struck first, leaping from a crystal tower toward Ethan with multiple limbs outstretched. He rolled under a sweeping strike and kicked a small crystal toward the creature. The crystal exploded in a flash of light, temporarily blinding it. That was enough for him to dash toward another platform, using the creature's confusion to gain distance. The crowd's reactions were mixed. Some cheered, some gasped in disbelief. Humans were supposed to be weaker than these alien champions, but Ethan was proving them wrong. He moved with confidence, relying on his observations and quick reflexes rather than raw strength. Princess Liara's voice rang clearly in the arena. "Do not underestimate him," she said, addressing the spectators. "The human sees beyond strength. He uses thought, timing, and courage. Watch carefully. Learn from him." Her words caught Ethan off guard for a moment. The princess, who had never spoken like this in public before, was openly praising him. That was unusual even in alien culture. He felt a mix of pride and determination. He would not disappoint her or himself. The battle continued. The creature adapted quickly, attacking with precise movements and energy strikes. Ethan responded with ingenuity, using the environment to create traps and distractions. At one point, he cut a support cable on a floating platform, causing it to tilt and send the creature sliding into an energy barrier. Sparks flew, and the creature crashed onto another platform, stunned. Ethan seized the opportunity. He leapt, spinning through the air, and landed a careful strike that neutralized the creature's energy attacks. The crowd gasped, and for a moment silence fell over the arena. Then the applause erupted louder than ever. Humans had survived 2 major challenges, and each victory had been achieved with skill, wit, and courage. Princess Liara's eyes shone with excitement and admiration. She rose fully from her platform, clapping with genuine enthusiasm. "You are remarkable, human," she said, her voice carrying over the cheering crowd. "You see what others cannot. You move with strategy and purpose. But remember, this arena tests everything: strength, intelligence, courage, and heart. Only the human who masters all can win." Ethan, breathing heavily, felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had faced creatures that seemed unbeatable, adapted to a constantly shifting environment, and emerged victorious. But he knew the real challenges were still ahead. The princess's challenge was more than a fight. It was a test of humanity itself, and every battle would be harder than the last. As the arena shifted again, forming new platforms and new dangers, Ethan's mind focused on one thing: survival and success. Humans had always relied on cleverness, courage, and adaptability to overcome impossible odds. Now in this alien arena, those traits were being tested like never before. He felt a spark of excitement. For the first time since arriving on Virelia, he realized that he could not only survive this arena, he could thrive. He could prove that humans were not weak, that they were cunning, brave, and capable of rising to any challenge. Above it all, Princess Liara watched with sharp eyes and a hint of a smile. The arena had never seen a human fight like this before, and as Ethan prepared for the next round, he knew one thing for certain: this battle was only the beginning. The human had arrived. The crowd had seen it, and the princess, for the first time, was curious to see how far his ingenuity could take him. The arena had grown larger, more complex, and far more dangerous. Platforms floated like islands over a chasm filled with crackling energy. Spires of crystal and metal jutted from the ground below, reflecting light in dazzling patterns. Strange machines whirred and moved along tracks, shifting the terrain constantly. Ethan Drake took a deep breath. He had survived 2 individual battles, but now the arena demanded more than skill. It demanded strategy, teamwork, and careful observation. A voice boomed from the arena's speakers, amplified so everyone could hear. "Welcome, challengers, to the team trials." The words echoed through the stands. Spectators leaned forward in anticipation. This round would test not only strength but cooperation. Alliances would be formed, and betrayals could occur at any moment. Ethan's pulse quickened. He had faced individual opponents before, but teamwork was a new challenge. He scanned the arena. From a distant platform, a tall, armored alien with sleek blue scales waved at him. His eyes glowed faintly, and he gave a small bow. This was Kale, his temporary ally for the round. Ethan noted the tension in Kale's movements. The alien was cautious, skilled, and possibly hiding his own agenda. "You are human," Kale said, his voice melodic but sharp. "I do not know your intentions, but I will fight with you, for now." Ethan nodded. "I don't need friends. I need someone who can fight and survive." "That's enough," Kyle smirked, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "Then let us begin." The gates opened, revealing the first challenge of the round. A massive mechanical beast, taller than a tower, with limbs ending in spinning drills and claws. Its body was armored in black metal, and glowing runes crawled across its surface. Sparks and fire erupted as it moved, shaking the platforms. Ethan realized immediately that brute force would not work. The beast was too strong, too fast, and too intelligent to simply attack. He glanced at Kale. Together, they could coordinate an attack using each other's strengths. Ethan moved first, drawing the beast's attention. He leapt onto a moving platform, dodging its spinning claws while Kale attacked from above, striking weak points in the beast's armor. The arena itself seemed to test them further. Platforms shifted suddenly, some collapsing under weight, others spinning wildly. Energy barriers pulsed in unpredictable patterns, and laser-like beams shot across the battlefield. One wrong step could send either of them plummeting into the crackling chasm below. Ethan called out quickly. "Kale, aim for the left leg when it moves toward that platform. Its weight will destabilize it." Kyle nodded, and together they executed the plan. The mechanical beast stumbled, its balance lost. Sparks flew as one of its drills broke off and fell into the abyss below. The spectators gasped. Even seasoned aliens had not seen such coordination between human and alien before. But just as victory seemed possible, Ethan noticed something troubling. Another competitor, A rival alien with sleek black armor had approached unnoticed. His eyes glowed red and he aimed a powerful energy weapon at Ethan's back. The rival wanted to sabotage him, to claim the princess by eliminating a dangerous contender. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He ducked just in time, rolling away from the blast. Kale reacted immediately, shielding Ethan with a force shield he could generate from his suit. Sparks and energy arcs flew around them, making the arena seem like a storm of fire and light. The beast, confused by the sudden chaos, began to swing its arms wildly. Ethan realized he had a chance. Using the rival's distraction, he guided the beast toward a collapsing platform. With careful timing, the platform gave way, sending the rival stumbling backward into a net trap that held him temporarily. The audience erupted in cheers. Humans had not only survived but turned a dangerous situation to their advantage. Ethan and Kale stood side by side, breathing heavily, eyes on the shifting battlefield. They had won this round, but the real test was yet to come. As the arena shifted again, new platforms rose, forming towers and bridges. This time the challenge was more subtle, a puzzle of timing and strategy. Energy barriers would open and close in patterns, forcing teams to move together or risk being trapped. Ethan realized that brute force would fail here completely. Only communication and cooperation could succeed. Kale and Ethan moved cautiously, reading the patterns of the barriers. Each step had to be calculated. Kale attacked first, pressing a switch that opened one barrier. Ethan darted across, signaling Kale when to follow. Together they navigated the maze with precision, avoiding traps and collapsing platforms. Through it all, Ethan observed Kale closely. The alien was competent, but he was also calculating, always thinking one step ahead. Ethan knew that Kale might betray him if it benefited his own survival. But for now, they had a common goal: complete the challenge and survive. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they reached the central platform. A panel of glowing symbols appeared, signaling the end of the round. Ethan pressed the correct sequence and a hidden gate opened. The arena trembled, signaling their success. Princess Liara stood from her platform, her violet eyes shining with approval. "Human," she said, her voice carrying over the crowd. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and adaptability. And you have chosen your allies wisely. For now. But the arena is not finished with you yet. The final challenge will test trust, strength, and character in ways you cannot yet imagine." The spectators roared. Humans had never reached this stage of the team trials before. Some whispered in amazement. Others cheered openly. Ethan felt the weight of their attention, but also the pride of his accomplishment. He had proven that humans were capable, even among the galaxy's most skilled and dangerous species. After a brief rest, Ethan and Kale were escorted to a separate platform. Kale looked at him carefully, his expression unreadable. "You are clever, human," he said. "I expected a simple fighter, not a strategist. Perhaps you are more than I thought." Ethan nodded. "I survive by thinking, not by guessing." "That's what humans do," Kale smirked. "Then perhaps there is hope for you yet. But remember, the final challenge will not only test your mind, it will test your heart as well." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Heart? I survive with courage, focus, and skill." "That is enough," Kyle chuckled softly. "We shall see." The arena's gates opened again, revealing the next phase of the trials. This time it was not a single opponent, nor a simple puzzle. It was a combination of moving platforms, shifting barriers, and a team of elite alien fighters. Ethan realized immediately that this would be the hardest round yet. He glanced at Kale. "We have to trust each other," he said. "No tricks this time." Kale's eyes met his. For the first time, there was a flicker of genuine agreement. "Agreed. Let us show them what humans and allies can do together." The gates closed and the final challenge of the round began. The platforms shifted violently. Energy beams crossed paths like deadly lasers, and the alien fighters advanced with coordinated precision. Ethan and Kale moved as one, anticipating each other's moves, covering weaknesses and exploiting openings. The crowd watched in awe. The combination of human ingenuity and alien skill was mesmerizing. Every move was calculated, every attack precise, every step a test of timing and courage. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, the last enemy fell. Ethan and Kale stood on a raised platform, exhausted but victorious. Sparks flew, energy barriers collapsed safely, and the crowd erupted in cheers that shook the arena. Princess Leiara's voice rang across the arena, clear and proud. You have survived the team trials, human. You have shown strategy, courage, and the ability to inspire trust. These qualities are rare. Even among my people, you have begun to prove yourself worthy of the challenge and of my respect. Ethan's chest swelled with pride. The trials had been difficult, dangerous, and exhausting, but he had survived. More than survived, he had excelled. And somewhere deep inside, he felt the stirrings of something new. The hope that he could not only win the arena, but also the princess herself. The arena shifted again, preparing for the next round. But for now, Ethan allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Humans were not weak, not even in the eyes of the galaxy's most skilled fighters. They could adapt, they could survive, and they could triumph against impossible odds. Princess Leiara watched him closely, her violet eyes glimmering with curiosity and admiration. The human had proven himself worthy of attention, and as the gates closed for the next phase, Ethan knew one thing for certain. The battles ahead would be harder, more dangerous, but he was ready. The human had survived the team trials, and the arena and the princess would never forget him. The arena had transformed once again. This time it was unlike anything Ethan Drake had seen before. Floating islands hovered over rivers of molten lava, jagged cliffs jutted into a stormy sky, and massive energy storms crackled across the horizon. Platforms moved unpredictably, rising and falling like ocean waves, and strange creatures scuttled along the edges of the battlefield. The spectators' excitement was deafening, but Ethan barely noticed them. His focus was entirely on what lay ahead. Princess Leiara watched from her platform above, her violet eyes glowing with intensity. She had seen much already, but even she was curious to see how far the human could push himself. This is the penultimate battle, she announced. Only those with skill, courage, and heart will survive. Humans have never reached this stage before. Ethan's jaw tightened. Humans had survived challenges before, but nothing like this. This arena was designed to push every limit: strength, speed, intelligence, and endurance. He took a deep breath, letting the adrenaline sharpen his senses. The gates opened and his opponent appeared. Towering over most beings, the alien warlord was clad in black crystalline armor that reflected the chaos of the arena. Its multiple limbs moved with terrifying precision, each one ending in clawed hands capable of slicing through steel. Its eyes glowed with a dangerous intelligence, and it radiated power and confidence. Ethan studied the warlord carefully. A head-on fight would be suicidal. Instead, he had to use strategy, timing, and environmental advantage to survive. He noted the shifting platforms, the energy storms, and the molten rivers. Every element of the arena could be weaponized, or could become a deadly trap. The warlord lunged first, moving faster than Ethan had anticipated. Sparks flew as its claws struck the platform where he had just stood. Ethan rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. He vaulted onto a floating island, landing silently. The warlord's multiple limbs lashed out, missing him by mere inches. Ethan knew he had to think several steps ahead. He scanned the arena for weak points, and his eyes fell on a cluster of unstable crystal pillars. If he could lure the warlord toward them, he might be able to destabilize the ground beneath it. He darted across a moving platform, narrowly dodging a sweeping strike. The warlord followed, its claws slicing through the air. With a calculated leap, Ethan hit one of the crystal pillars. It trembled and fell, crashing into a lower platform and creating a chain reaction. The warlord stumbled, its balance momentarily lost. The crowd gasped. Humans had never faced this warlord before, let alone outmaneuvered it. Some spectators whispered in disbelief, others cheered in admiration. Princess Leiara's gaze sharpened. The human was clever, quick-thinking, and fearless. She leaned forward, intrigued. Ethan did not pause to enjoy the spectacle. The warlord recovered quickly, its eyes narrowing in calculated rage. Its claws glowed with energy, ready to strike with lethal force. Ethan ducked and rolled, narrowly avoiding the deadly sweep. Sparks flew, some hitting his armor but causing no serious harm. He needed a new strategy. Observing the warlord's movements, he noticed a pattern. It favored power over speed when attacking the molten rivers. If he could draw it toward one, the heat and unstable ground could work to his advantage. He lured the warlord with careful feints and timed dodges, slowly guiding it toward the lava flow. The warlord roared, sensing the trap too late. Its claws struck the molten river, causing a violent explosion of steam and fire. Ethan rolled away just in time, landing on a stable platform. The warlord's momentum caused it to stumble, and for a moment it seemed vulnerable. Ethan seized the opportunity. He leapt onto the warlord's back, sliding down its crystalline armor to strike at the joints connecting its limbs. Sparks flew and energy arcs danced across its body, but the warlord was still alive. Its strength was immense, and it fought back with terrifying speed. The battle became a test of endurance. Ethan dodged, countered, and adapted, using every skill he had learned in previous rounds. The arena itself was both an ally and an enemy, shifting unpredictably, forcing him to think and move constantly. Above it all, Princess Liara watched intently. Her violet eyes shone with admiration and a hint of concern. The human was brave, clever, and unyielding. Few had faced the warlord and lived to tell the tale. She wondered how far his courage and ingenuity would carry him. As the warlord prepared a massive strike, Ethan noticed a fissure in the ground, glowing with molten energy. A risky plan formed in his mind. He dodged the incoming strike, sprinted toward the fissure, and feigned a misstep. The warlord lunged, misjudging the distance, and its claws caught the edge of the fissure. The ground cracked further, and the warlord lost its footing, teetering dangerously over the molten river below. Ethan held his breath. One wrong move and both of them could fall. But he stayed calm, focusing on precision. He leapt onto the warlord's back one final time and struck a critical joint, disabling its energy circulation. The warlord let out a deafening roar, thrashing wildly before collapsing onto a stable platform. The crowd erupted in cheers. Humans had never defeated this warlord before. They had witnessed ingenuity, courage, and sheer determination overcoming unimaginable power. Ethan, exhausted but triumphant, stood on the platform, breathing heavily. Every muscle in his body ached, but he had survived and he had won. Princess Liara stood fully on her platform, clapping slowly, deliberately. Her eyes glimmered with respect and approval. "You are remarkable, human," she said, her voice carrying across the arena. "You have faced the penultimate challenge and survived. You have shown strength, strategy, and courage beyond expectation. The final test awaits, and it will be unlike anything you have faced before." Ethan felt a mix of relief and anticipation. The penultimate battle had been brutal, but he had adapted and survived. He understood now that each trial in this arena was more than just physical. It tested the mind, the courage, and the heart. As the arena shifted again, forming new structures and glowing with energy, Ethan allowed himself a brief moment to catch his breath. He had learned to trust his instincts, to observe and adapt, and to use the environment to his advantage. But he knew the final battle would require even more. It would demand precision, strategy, and a deep understanding of the arena, and perhaps even of the princess herself. Kale, watching from a nearby platform, approached him cautiously. "You have done well, human," he said. "Few have survived this stage. But the final challenge, it will test everything you hold inside. Courage alone will not be enough." Ethan nodded. "I know, but I've come this far. I'm not giving up now." Kyle studied him silently, then gave a slight nod. "Very well. Let us prepare." The final battle approaches. The spectators leaned forward, sensing the tension. The penultimate battle had been spectacular, but they knew the final challenge would be even greater. The princess's declaration earlier had ensured that everyone's attention was focused on Ethan. Would a human, an outsider, a rare species, truly survive the final test? Ethan looked across the shifting battlefield. He could feel the weight of every gaze upon him, the pressure of the princess's challenge, and the danger of what was to come. But he also felt something stronger: determination. Humans had always faced impossible odds and triumphed. They had survived, adapted, and innovated. And now, in the heart of the alien arena, he would prove that again. Princess Liara's eyes met his, glowing with a mixture of curiosity, admiration, and challenge. The final battle was near, the ultimate test of skill, courage, and heart. Ethan knew he could not fail. He tightened his fists and prepared himself. The arena waited. The galaxy watched. And the human, alone but unyielding, was ready to face his greatest challenge yet. The penultimate battle had ended. The final battle, the one that could win him the princess's respect and perhaps more, was about to begin. The arena was silent. The storm above rumbled like the heartbeat of the universe itself, and the floating platforms glowed with a strange, pulsing light. Ethan Drake stood at the center, sweat dripping from his brow, muscles aching, yet his mind focused. This was the final challenge, the moment that would determine not only his victory in the arena, but also his place in the eyes of Princess Liara. The gates opened, revealing the ultimate opponent. It was unlike anything Ethan had faced before, a massive, multi-limbed alien warrior surrounded by a swirling field of energy. Its eyes burned with intelligence and aggression, and its claws were tipped with glowing crystal, capable of slicing through the strongest metals. This was the arena's champion, undefeated for decades, feared by countless alien species, and now it faced a human. The crowd erupted in noise, but Ethan barely heard it. He focused on every detail, the movement of the energy around the champion, the patterns in its attack, the shifts of the platforms beneath his feet. His mind worked quickly, calculating angles, distances, and opportunities. Every battle had led him here. Every lesson he had learned, strategy, observation, courage, would be tested to the limit. Princess Liara's violet eyes were fixed on him from her platform above. She had been impressed by his ingenuity, his ability to survive impossible odds, and his courage. But this final trial was more than a test of skill. It was a test of character. The way he fought, the choices he made, and the courage he displayed would determine whether he truly earned her respect. The champion struck first. Its multiple limbs moved like a whirlwind, and a shockwave of energy shot across the arena. Ethan dove to the side, rolling beneath a platform just as the blast struck the ground. Sparks flew and the platform trembled violently. He had to act fast. A direct attack would be fatal. Instead, he analyzed the champion's movements, looking for patterns. He noticed that when it prepared for a powerful strike, it left one side slightly open for a brief moment. That would be his opportunity. Ethan darted across the arena, using the shifting platforms for cover. The champion followed, its glowing eyes never leaving him. Every leap, every dodge, and every maneuver was precise. The crowd watched in awe. Humans were clever, yes, but to outmaneuver the arena's ultimate champion was extraordinary. He lured the champion toward a cluster of energy barriers. Timing was critical. As the champion struck, Ethan ducked beneath a swipe and triggered a nearby platform mechanism. The energy barriers surged, creating a temporary field that trapped the champion momentarily. Sparks danced in the air as the champion struggled to free itself. Ethan knew this was his moment. He sprinted forward, leaping onto the champion's back, and aimed for a weak point beneath the glowing energy core that powered its limbs. His strike landed perfectly, and the champion let out a deafening roar. It thrashed violently, but the damage had been done. Its energy weakened and its movement slowed. The crowd gasped. A human had done what countless aliens had failed to accomplish. Whispers spread across the stands. The human is clever. I have never seen such skill. Even the elite spectators of the galaxy were amazed. Princess Liara's eyes widened. She rose from her platform fully, clapping her hands slowly, deliberately. The admiration in her gaze was clear. Ethan had faced the ultimate challenge and survived. He had proven not only his skill but his courage, strategy, and character. The champion struggled one final time, but Ethan anticipated every movement. With a precise strike, he disabled the last energy limb, causing the warrior to collapse fully. Silence fell across the arena for a heartbeat. Then a roar erupted, louder than any before. The spectators cheered, stamped their feet, and waved banners in celebration. Humans had triumphed. Ethan stood tall, chest heaving, arms raised in victory. His body was exhausted, but his mind was sharp. He had not only survived, but had proven the ingenuity, courage, and adaptability of humanity. Princess Liara descended from her platform, walking toward him with measured steps. The crowd fell silent, waiting for the moment they had all anticipated. Her violet eyes glimmered with admiration and curiosity. "You have done what no other being has done," she said, her voice carrying across the arena. "You have faced every challenge, adapted to every situation, and overcome the impossible. You have proven courage, intelligence, and heart, the qualities my people value above all else." Ethan bowed slightly, exhaustion tempered by pride. "I did what I had to do," he said. "Humans survive, we adapt, and we fight with both mind and heart." Princess Liara smiled, a rare, genuine smile. "Indeed, human. You have earned more than victory. You have earned my respect and my trust." She extended her hand toward him, a gesture of honor in her culture. "By the rules of my people, you have won me." The crowd erupted into cheers again. The human had achieved the impossible. They had seen courage and intelligence triumph against overwhelming odds. Humans, once considered weak and unpredictable, had shown themselves to be formidable, worthy of admiration across the galaxy. Ethan took her hand, feeling the weight of the moment. This was not just personal victory. It was a triumph for humanity. Every being watching, every species present, had witnessed humans' ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. For the first time, the galaxy truly understood what humans were capable of. Kale approached cautiously, a faint smile on his face. "You have done well, human," he said. "You have earned what few could. Not just victory, but respect across the arena. Your people have been underestimated for too long." Ethan nodded, still catching his breath. "It was not just me," he said. "It was strategy, courage, and determination. That is what humans do." The arena began to shift once more, signaling the end of the trials. Spectators started leaving, still cheering, still talking about the human who had won the impossible. Ethan looked up at Princess Liara. Her eyes, glowing faintly in the setting sun of Viralia, reflected admiration and something deeper: curiosity, respect, and perhaps hope. "You have proven much," she said softly, her voice audible only to him now. "Not just your skill, but your spirit. Few beings have faced what you have and survived. You are remarkable, human." Ethan smiled faintly. "I learned from the challenges, and from watching you. You demanded the best, I gave it." Princess Liara's expression softened. "And I will watch as you continue to grow, human. Perhaps one day you will teach others what it means to have courage and heart. But for now, you have won my respect, my trust, and my admiration." The arena, once a place of danger and fear, now felt almost like a stage of triumph. Ethan stood amidst the remnants of his battles, looking around at the platforms, the glowing energy, and the cheering crowd. Every challenge he had faced, every strategy he had used had led to this moment. The final challenge was over. Humans had proven themselves not through sheer strength but through ingenuity, courage, and heart. Ethan had shown that even a single human, facing impossible odds, could rise above, adapt, and triumph. Princess Liara extended her hand once more, and this time Ethan took it fully. There was no pretense, no hesitation, just trust and respect. They stood together facing the crowd, a human and an alien princess, united not only by challenge but by admiration. As the sun set over the arena, casting golden light across the floating city, Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy had seen humanity at its best, and the story of the human who won the arena and the princess would be remembered for generations. The arena had held its breath, and now it exhaled, echoing the triumph of a human who had dared to defy the impossible.